And it is time to get started. Hey, welcome to At The Track Live. I am Coach James. I'm the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics. What is All About Aerodynamics, you ask? Glad you asked, even if you didn't ask. All About Aerodynamics is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics-related topics, including but not limited to physics. Physics topics including friction, force, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic energy, elastic force, a whole range of topics. After we have conducted experiments to drive home those concepts and learned all the science, then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student has the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything they've learned in the course. Once they've selected their cars, they weigh their cars, they test the speed of their cars, they check the year the car was manufactured, the materials the car is made from, all of the information that they can observe. They document that, keep it in a spreadsheet, and then the only thing left to do is set up a 1/64th scale quarter-mile drag strip and race the cars. The students race the cars. We have a little tournament. They observe how their cars perform. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they select those cars again, or would they make a different choice based on their observations? In the end, we have fun with Hot Wheels cars, and we learn science. What could be better? If you would like more information about our science program, All About Aerodynamics, all you have to do is go to our website, aaAerodynamics.com, or you can follow us on Instagram, aaAerodynamics, and all of the information you need to contact me is in the bio, and we can discuss how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is all about aerodynamics presents At The Track Live. So what is At The Track Live? Well, before I can bring in those 400 cars for the students to use, I have to make sure that I have them cataloged and organized properly so that I can bring them in for the students to use. They can use the cars, and then I can bring them back, put them in the right place, have them ready to go for the next group. But I have more cars in storage than I have introduced into the fleet. Well, it might be about even now. And so I go into the storage, get those cars, get a handful of cars, crack those open. I get my picture, I shoot a little video, do a little review, and then catalog those cars, enter them into the spreadsheet, and they're ready to go. They're ready to be selected, they're ready to be picked. And once that happens, we have the track set up, we have the cars, we might as well go ahead and race the cars. So we have a little mini tournament every week, and we see which of the new cars that's been introduced is the fastest. But wait, there's more. You have the opportunity to participate. All you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, and you're going to have 3 options there. You're going to have the Twitch stream link, the YouTube stream link, but the third option is the most important. It's the one that says choose your car. If you select that option, you will be taken to this page. And on this page, you will have the opportunity to look through all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics At The Track Live fleet. And you can see we have cars from the 80s, some from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. We have trucks, we have cars, we have vans, we have fantasy cars, reality cars, character cars, gimmick cars. We have pretty much every style and type of Hot Wheels car imaginable represented here. There are cars that are like boats, cars that are like insects, ice cream truck cars. There are Fantasy cars. There are, let's see, there's a Piranha. This car just raced, the Piranha Terror. This is just one of the many cars we have that is so kind of bizarre and outrageous that it's hard to even know what it's going to do on the track until we take it on the track. But all you have to do is scroll through, find the car that you want. When you find it, you just take the number that's in front of the car. So if you decide random number 341. Oh, I just passed it. 341, if that's the car you want. Let's say it's this one. This is a good looking car. I don't know that this one has raced. This 2011, I think it was a 2011 Camaro. If you look at that and you say, you know what, I think that car is going to be faster than any of the other cars that's been introduced that other people have picked, then all you have to do is take the number. In this case, it's 341. You drop that in the chat, and then I will pull the car, and just like that, you're in the race. If you are watching this after the fact, which I know most people do, you can get ahead of things, find the car that you want, still go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose your car, go in, find your car, and once you do, all you have to do is you can send me a direct message and let me know which car you want to go with, and then the following week I'll pull it and it will be in the race. But you still have time, you have plenty of time, because I've got cars I've got to introduce, and we're going to take a look at some cars that have already been picked by some viewers to race, and we are going to find out if we are going to be able to take out our newest fastest in fleet car, which is the car that won the tournament the previous week. And this week, our fastest in fleet car is this one. It is the RD09, not to be confused with the RD02 or the RD04, the RD0 or the RD06. This is the RD09. It's part of the Acceleracers Silver Series, I think. And yeah, Silver Series Acceleracers. And it was introduced last week and took out the champ. The champ had been the Super Stinger, and the Super Stinger could not keep up with the RD09. I don't know if was an RD08 somewhere in there and when they start jumping to odd numbers, but we have the RD02, 4, and 6, and now the 9, and the 9 is our fastest in fleet champion. So if you decide to select a car and you pick a car and that car beats out all the other cars that are racing today, then you will have the chance to take on and take out potentially the RD09. And we will find out if the RD09 is going to stay in this position as fastest in fleet car, or if it's going to get knocked out. We've had a lot of turnover the last month and a half or so. Ever since the Blitz speeder went down, we had the Mercedes-Benz 500E was champion for a little while. Then we had the Batman Arkham Asylum Batmobile, and then we had the Super Stinger, and now we have the RD09. So how long this car is going to be able to remain our fastest in fleet is anybody's guess. It could be one and done. We're going to find out today. It's kind of unique because our launcher, as I have kind of shown before, this is this is what it looks like. And the cars sit in there, and then you hit the switch, and boom, shoots them out, fires them off. But what's important are these blocks right here, because these blocks are what the cars press up against when it is time to race. And some of the things that we talk about is you want to have as much surface area as possible, as much of your car touching the launching block as possible, because it doesn't guarantee, but it helps. It doesn't guarantee it, but it increases the odds that you're going to get a better launch. So if we take a car like if I were to take this one, this Porsche, what's this? This 917 LH. See how the back is pretty flat. So that means that when this goes into the launching channel, it's pressed up right against that launching block. And so when this thing pushes out, it's going to get a pretty even push, which is more likely to help this car stay straight. Now, this is a great car because it's wide. And when we put it in the launching channel, you can see, like, you don't really get any... Hang on, let me put it on this side. I'll pull this back and just hope that it doesn't shoot off and while I'm holding it. So when we pull these cars back, then we drop them into the launch channel like that, and then when I hit the switch, the launching block fires up and pushes the cars out. So with a car like this, it's so wide that it's not going to turn or bounce or do anything strange. If we take a car like, let's say, the Rock and Railer, so you see at the back end, it's only got the one point of contact right there, and it's got a little room on either side to kind of move around or fall out. And so what's going to happen is this car is not necessarily going to get as consistent. The launches aren't going to be consistent just because it's only got this one point of contact. And if the car is just off just a little bit when I line it up, then it could launch out and get pushed to the right or the left. And when that happens, the cars could possibly and potentially start bouncing around the track. When they bounce around the track, every time they go to one side or the other, it's going to bring up Isaac Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So they're going to hit one side, and then they're going to bounce back to the other side. And every time they bounce to one side or the other, there's going to be a little bit of friction with the front wheels scraping up against the track, the edges of the track. And that friction over time is going to work to slow the cars down. So ideally on the track, what you want is a car that launches out straight and stays straight on the track and avoids bouncing around to reduce the amount of friction. You also want a car that can reduce the impact of drag. And in order to do that, we put the cars on Wednesdays. We put the cars in a wind tunnel. We have the Funtech Labs 1/64 scale Windsable, which is a wind tunnel. So we put the cars in there, turn the air on or turn the smoke streams on, and we can see how the air is flowing over, under, and around the cars. And we can get a good idea for most cars about how much drag is going to impact their performance on the track just by tracing the flow of air over, under, and around the cars. And one thing we've noticed is that cars that have a profile similar to the RD09, which is our current champion, cars that have this, it's usually fantasy cars, although we've had some actual cars, but cars that have this sort of similar basic profile without the windshield at a traditional angle and no leading up to the roof line. Cars that are like this, the air tends to flow right up over the hood, right across the windshield and the roof, as much as there is one on this car, and right off the back. We've seen that similar setup with the Blitzspeeder. We've seen it with the Slide Kick and some other cars that have done pretty well on the track. And when we put them in the wind tunnel, we see the similarities. With other cars, more traditional cars, the air comes up, it hits that windshield, goes up to the roof line, and then it kind of breaks away from following along the lines of the body of the car. Now, we are going to find out with the RD09 if this, in particular, this setup in the back, it's got these 2 points, which means that when we drop it into the launcher, let me switch views. Hey, Trek Time, a rough shot. Yeah, we have different launchers, and the reason I had to end up designing my own was because you can't really count on a toy company to continue making the same thing over and over because they have to sell more products. So this is what we've used, and it actually created it to shoot the cars off with a little more force, a lot more force than the off-the-shelf versions. But with the RD09, when we put it into the launcher, you can see that the points of contact are right on the edges of the launching block. And we've seen, at least in the 2 races that it's had so far, it's been pretty consistent, and that hasn't been a problem. But usually it's been Batmobiles. This is a very Batmobile-like look on the back of this car. And fortunately, it's gotten consistent launches, and if it continues to get consistent launches, then it could continue to be our fastest in fleet champion, but there is no guarantee. So we have, right now we're up to 973 cars currently in the fleet. So if you go to AtTheTrack.live, you select the choose a car option, you go to this page, you can choose one of those cars, and when you find the one that you want, all you have to do is just take the number, drop it in the chat, I will pull the car, and we will enter it into today's tournament. But it will also be going up against some new cars that we are introducing. So let's go ahead and see what we've got. This one's going to be tough because I remember I had this. I didn't have this, and when I was in preschool, they had this Fisher-Price, the little telephone. I forget what it was actually. Oh, here we go. On the back. This is born in 1961 in America, designer Fisher-Price. Dial in some timeless fun with a racer inspired by one of the most iconic toys of the 60s, the Fisher-Price Chatter telephone. The Quick Chat hits the tracks in permanent speed dial mode with a ringing telephone handle and screaming V10 in the back. So, I wasn't around in the 60s, but when I was in preschool, this was a toy, the little Fisher-Price telephone. Hot Wheels has made it into a car. Now, when I open this up, we'll get into what the issue is, and I'm going to have to make a tough choice, but let's crack this open and take a look. So this car, the Quick Chat, weighs in at 27.9 grams, which is a little bit, not a little bit, it's about 5 grams outside of what we consider the sweet spot, which is about 32 to 36 grams. Those are the cars that tend to perform best on the track, but it's not a guarantee. It is not a guarantee. Just for comparison, the RD09 is coming in at 38.2 grams. But with the Quick Chat, this is it. And with some of these character cars, I mean, they do a fantastic job of kind of representing whatever the character is. In this case, we've got the Quick Chat, so I am going to grab this little 360 video here. Now, my issue with the Quick Chat is the same issue and problem that we had with the Rock and Railer, which is that the back wheels have a little tab, and the tab hits another tab on in this case, the telephone, the receiver, and it makes it shake back and forth. So that's a cool little effect when the car is going down the track. But what we found with the Rock and Railer is that tab action, every time that tab hits in the case of the Rock and Railer, the engine, in this case it'd be the receiver, it works to slow down the car's forward momentum. And that is no good. So we did there's a little video that we posted on Instagram, I think on YouTube as well, showing what the difference between the Rock and Railer with the tab and without the tab. And as we suspected, I mean, it wasn't really a big scientific breakthrough and leap to figure out that cutting off the tab enabled the car to maintain more of its forward momentum. And I'll show you here. Right there, that tab on the wheel comes around, and there's one on both wheels, comes around and hits the telephone and makes it rock back and forth like it's ringing. So that's cool, but it's not going to work for us when we're trying to race these cars. And so I think, even though I typically don't modify the cars, but in this case, I am pretty sure that I am going to cut these tabs off before we race. And that's just going to be how it is. So let me go ahead and grab the still picture. And this is the quick chat. This is going to be car number 974. We are moving our way slowly but surely to car number 1000. I think I guesstimated it would be some point in kind of mid-January when we get there, and I am still trying to figure out which car should be our 1000th car. I don't know. I think it should be something a little special, a little unique, but I am open to ideas, and I'm also, because it's a milestone car, I'm kind of open to spending some money to getting the car, to getting it in the fleet. Let me see the quick chat. And I think we are going to have to, I'm going to have to cut off these tabs because I want this car to make an impact. So here we go again. I'm just going to cut these tabs off of the wheels. And there are a couple other cars that I have. There's the Hot Weiler. It's the one that is, it's like a werewolf kind of gimmick, and the tabs make the mouth on the car open and close. So, all right, so I've cut these tabs off, and now the wheels can spin freely. The phone won't ring and shake and rattle, but at least the car will have a better opportunity to win. Now, one thing I didn't note because I was so busy thinking about the tabs is looking at the back end. So that is the back end of the car. So when we talk about the points of contact and the surface area touching the car, it's really just going to be those 2 points. So what kind of launch is this car going to get? Is it going to be consistent? I don't know. We're going to find out. And we're also going to throw this thing in the wind tunnel because the receiver is kind of acting like a wing, except this part of it, there's not really much area for like a typical wing. Obviously, the air could flow just right beneath and over. With this, I don't know. We're going to see how this all works out. But we've got the quick chat as car number 974 in the fleet. And next up is one that I don't know if it's going to fit in the launcher. We're going to see. It might be a little too wide because it kind of fans out at the back. But it is this one. It is the 67 Chevy C10. And we don't have too many trucks in the fleet, typically because they're a little too wide to fit in the launch channel. This one may fit, but you can kind of see that it fans out. Like it starts off, it's a little, let me see. Well, just crack it open, and then we'll see up close. Yeah, so that is, with the quick chat, I haven't seen it in the stores around here, And so I ended up ordering it online. So I ended up paying probably about $6 for it. And if I see another one, then I'll definitely pick it up if I can find one in the stores. But so far, no luck. Every time I go in now the Rock and Railer, when I needed another one of those for the sake of the experiments, I was able to find about 5 or 6 of those. But some of these cars I've never seen. Like so far, I haven't seen any of the Ferraris, any of the mainline Ferraris in the store. I guess I'm just getting there too late. So one day I might stumble across one, but I have a feeling that if I want one, I'm going to end up having to pick one up at the Hot Wheels swap meet or just paying online. All right, this Chevy C10. Well, first let's see if it will fit into the launcher, because that is not always guaranteed. So, all right, let's see. Ooh. Oh, okay. I might have to check it out. I usually, if I see a Target or a Walmart, especially in a different area, then I'll go in and check. Okay, great. This does fit. So we are in business there. Good news. So now we can take a closer look at this Chevy C10. I have a whole box of trucks that I'm either going to have to design a launcher that can fit those, but I don't really have a way to use them on our current track setup. So I still pick them up because I know that one day I'll work something out and figure it out, and they will be in the mix. So all right, we've got this Chevy C10, good looking truck. Now, one of the things when we talk about the back end, it is flat, and so it's also wide. I had to just check to make sure it could even fit into the launcher, and it does. So wider cars it's a pretty good situation for those because they're not going to bounce around the track. And cars that staying straight on the track is probably is the absolute best thing a car can do, other than being fast. But let's see here. It's a pickup. It's got the traditional setup. So we already know that aerodynamically, it's got a large the grille, that frontal area. When we put the cars in the wind tunnel, we see how that air stacks up right in the front, creating that area of high pressure. And then it pushes up over the hood. And when it hits that windshield and goes up to the roof, for most cars, that's typically along that roof line where that airflow, where it kind of just breaks away. And with this being a pickup, it's absolutely going to break away right beyond the back of the cab. But that does not mean that this car won't perform well. It just means that when it gets down to the later stages of our races, when it's going up against cars with really good aerodynamic profiles like the RD09, like some of the other cars that are going to be racing, that it's probably not going to be able to hang. But we will see. I didn't check let me check the weight on this one. The Chevy 67 Chevy C10. This is a good looking car. I like that black and tan. It's coming in at 38.7 grams. So that is just a little bit outside of our sweet spot, but not so much so that I think we need to worry. But this is a good, I just like the profile of it. And I always buy the cars. It's only based on 2 things. One, if I think, well, kind of 3. If I think it's cool, if I think it would be a fast car, a good car to race, and sometimes the third consideration is what I think the students might like. So this is it. We've got a truck in the lineup. There aren't too many. Although we did have the Draftnator. The Draftnator was one of our fastest in fleet cars for quite a while before it got knocked off. So we've got the Chevy C10. We've got the Quick Chat with no tabs to impede the forward momentum of the wheel. Hey, Christopher, how you doing? And now we are going to, I can't help it. The majority of the car, I'd say probably 99% of the cars are Hot Wheels cars. We have the one NASCAR, whoever makes the NASCAR diecast, we have one of those in there. And then we have a few Matchbox. Most of the Matchbox cars are from when I was a kid that I just had. But when I pick them up and I introduce them into the fleet, I don't know what it is about the Matchbox cars. Mattel's making both cars, but the Matchbox cars cannot hang on the track with the Hot Wheels cars. Every once in a while we get one that does okay, but we've never had one that's been able to become our fastest in fleet car or even win the week's tournament. So giving them another shot with this one. This is the Lamborghini Gallardo Police Edition. And this is another of those from the grocery store that I go to that they have these in a box, which is, I don't like it because you can't see the actual car. They have the little picture of it, but I'm going to go ahead and open this box and get this one out. I know that we have plenty of Lamborghinis, Batmobiles, Corvettes, Ford GT40s. We have plenty of those, and this is going to be another Lamborghini. It's a Matchbox. We're going to see what it weighs. Weighs in at 30.3 grams, and this is going to put this up here. You can take a look at it, and there's nothing all that special about this car. It's just a Lamborghini Gallardo, but it's a Matchbox, and so I'm like, what can I do? What kind of Matchbox car can I bring in to try and find one that is going to be able to compete with the Hot Wheels cars? I think the only way, it seems at this point, that I'm going to be able to find a Matchbox car that's going to be able to win the tournament is if I have a tournament of only Matchbox cars, because the performance just isn't there. I don't know if it's something they're doing different with the axles and the wheels. The Matchbox wheels do have this little detail of these little ridges around the edge, and it makes a cool sound when they go down the track, but I just don't know what the specific difference is between the Hot Wheels cars and the Matchbox cars that doesn't allow the Matchbox cars to really compete on a high level with the Hot Wheels cars. Let's see. This is the Lamborghini Gallardo Police Edition. And we already know about the aerodynamic profiles of the Lamborghinis. Pretty standard Lamborghini stuff. Good aerodynamic profiles. When I'm working with students and we start to have discussions about aerodynamics and drag and airflow over and under and around the body of the car, most students will kind of gravitate towards Lamborghinis and the kind of wedge-shaped cars immediately, because it kind of works with what they've just learned. And in the case of this one, I'm hopeful, but it's a Matchbox car. And if a Lamborghini Matchbox car can't do the thing, we've had Bugattis, I've tried every supercar I can think of, but eventually we're going to find the Matchbox car that can hang with the Hot Wheels. And if you know of one, if you know, maybe you know why, what Mattel is doing in the manufacturing process, or why the Matchbox cars tend to be don't tend to be as fast as the Hot Wheels cars, let me know. When I went to the Hot Wheels Legends tour stop in El Segundo, they had a booth and they had Hot Wheels designers there, and you could talk to them and get autographs. And the year before, I spoke to one of the designers, the guy who designed the Donut Drifter, and we were talking. This year when I went, what I wanted to do was ask them, well, I had a couple of questions, but one, I wanted to know about what was the difference. But the line was too long, and I didn't, I preferred to go around and look at some of the other cars versus standing in this long line to just ask the one question. So one day that question will be answered, but all we know so far is that when these Matchbox cars hit the track, they just don't get the job done for whatever reason. Let's see. The Formula One 5-pack. Yeah, so I have the one Formula One car, and I actually saw that 5-pack in the store of the Formula One cars, but they're all the same car. Like, they're all exactly the same. It's just that the decals and signage and all that are different. So I guess having one is pretty much I've got all I need for right now. But I will definitely let you know if there's a car that I'm looking for that I can't find. I saw in one of Roughshod's videos, and you sent me a DM, a picture, and there's one that I'm looking. It's like a fantasy. It's like a Hot Wheels fantasy version of like a Superbird muscle car. It's kind of cool, so I'm looking for that one. We're going to give Matchbox twice the opportunity, increasing the odds, because we're going to introduce this one, this Porsche 911 Targa, and a cool looking car. Matchbox cars, they definitely the detail, I like it. They don't cut corners. Some of the Hot Wheels cars, we get those, and it looks like they just took the day off and decided, we're not going to put any detail on those. But the Matchbox cars always have some pretty good detail. So let's crack this one open and take a look. Now, I do notice on the Matchbox, like here on the box or on the package at the bottom, they have a little decal that says metal parts. But they tend not to weigh significantly more. And in looking at the car, I don't necessarily see how it's all that different than a Hot Wheels car. But the weight on this Porsche is 31.7 grams. The Hightail Chaser. Yeah, there we go. That's the one. So I'm going to be looking for that. I like the shape and the style of that car. I didn't like the color, but it's one of those ones, since it's a fantasy car, you know they're going to keep pumping them out and have different color versions. So hopefully I'll see one in the store and get a chance to pick one up. This is another just good-looking Matchbox car. And I'll go ahead and just grab my still picture first. And we will see. Right here. Boom. We've got our Porsche 911 Targa. And let's go ahead and get this video. Take a look. I don't know why these cars, doesn't seem to be any real reason why they shouldn't be as fast, but there's definitely something to it. I don't know if it's the wheel axle combination. It's not the weight, because we checked the weight and the weights are similar. So I don't know. It is a mystery. And since I don't tend to take the cars apart, I can't take them apart and examine and see if there's something different. Maybe the clamps that they use to hold the axles in place, maybe they're different than on the Hot Wheels cars, and maybe they prevent the axles from spinning as freely. I don't know. It's a nice, on the back end there, where they have the like, I can't tell if that's just the decal or if they actually, for the grill right there on the back. You got the license plate. The lights always look great. They always have that that painted effect where it looks like they're more three-dimensional. Like, this is a good looking car. I'm never disappointed with the quality of the Matchbox cars. It's usually just the speed. I need them to be faster. I need them to perform better on the track. They just don't. I mean, they went so far as to even put the little badge right on the front. It's gold. See if I can get this in focus. Like, that's just a good looking car. Look at the headlights. That effect, that's great. The back end, they really did a great job. So it's a great looking car. But this isn't a beauty contest. We take these cars to the track and we want to see them be fast. We want to see them race. We want to see them compete. We want to see them win. And the Matchbox cars, I don't know. Something about them. But hey, maybe this is the week. Maybe this is the week for Matchbox to break through. And we'll see if that's the case. So we've got the Porsche 911 Targa. We've got the Lamborghini Gallardo Police Edition. We've got the Quick Chat. And we've got the, was it a Chevy? Yeah, the 67 Chevy C10. So we are moving right along. Let's see what other cars, what else can I introduce? How about, let's see. So I have this bag full of loose cars. And I don't know, is this a, let's see what we have, because I want to make sure that we don't have any duplicate cars entered into the fleet. Let's see what we can pull out of here. Here is a, what is this? This looks like a Ford Focus. Yeah, it is. Pretty sure we have a 09 Ford Focus already in the fleet, but I will double check. 08. We don't. Let me check 2009. No. And okay, well, I guess we can put this Ford Focus RS into the mix. Let me just check Ford. Yeah, we don't, that's surprising. Okay, let me check to make sure there's no problems with the axles. All right, no, nothing there. All right, let's check the weight on this one. This is weighing in at 33.5 grams, and I don't remember if I put the, well, I did put the Targa on there. Targa was 31.6, but I'm surprised we don't have one of these. A Ford Focus? Huh. All right, well, we've got one now. Here it is. It is the 2009 Ford Focus. Little rally hatchback here. And this is going to be our 978th car. Grab this little video and enter this into the fleet. See, some of these cars, this is probably one. Most of the cars that are in the in just these kind of loose bags are cars that I bought a 5-pack or a 10-pack in some cases, but I only wanted one specific car in there, and the rest just get kind of set aside and put in a bag. But this is how we found the Blitz Speeder, and I believe there was one other car that was just sort of a random car that had been sitting loose in a bin. And this is how you find the sleepers. Ford Focus. And let's see. And we have this coming around. Formula One 5-pack. So the thing is, again, with the Formula One cars, is that it's all the same car. They just have different designs. So I have one, and if I can, if there's actually a difference in the physical car, then I might introduce another one. But if it's just the color and kind of logos and things that are different, then I'll probably hold off. I was thinking about like old school cars, like trying to find an old school car, but the problem is most of those tend to be metal on metal, and they're heavy, and so we all automatically kind of know that they're not going to be able to perform well on the track. In fact, I was experimenting with something the other day, and I was using I think it was a GT Racer, this one, which I'll show closer up after I take this picture. And that car was about 57 or 51 grams, and it was just so heavy that it could barely finish the race. I mean, get to the finish line. There we go. All right. So we've got that car, but I'll show you. It was this one, this GT Racer, and then this I forget what this one is. This oh man, I forget what this other one is. CX4, something like that. But I guess it would help if I put it in focus. This car. And so I love the design and shape and style of the car, but it weighs in at 51.3 grams. And because it's so heavy, it just wasn't making it down the track. In fact, I had it racing. I was filming something, and I had it racing this chicken truck, and the chicken truck was destroying it on the track. It's just too heavy. So I don't know. I want to use an old school car, but they're just too heavy. So any suggestions for that 1,000th car? I'm taking suggestions. I am weighing the options. And by the time we get there, hopefully we've got something good picked. The F1 cars. Like I said, I have the one. And if you go to AtTheTrack.live and select the choose a car option, some of the early cars, when I was first putting the cars into the fleet, I didn't consider duplicates. And if a car just had like the ElecTrack, There's a blue one, and then we have, I believe there's a red one. In the last couple of years, I don't put duplicate cars in there unless there's some significant difference, like actual difference. The wheels are different. There has to be something about the car that's actually different to justify putting in a duplicate. And there's such a variety out there that I just want to find some kind of special car. Well, you know what? Well, it's only $100,000. This $100,000 Jaguar. This car is pretty fast. One of the older cars that I had from when I was a kid, and we have now reached the point where we have our competitors for this week, and Christopher and Roughshot, I have your picks, so we're gonna take a look at those. A collector, a 59 Impala, nice. The question I have is, that's also the other thing, is that we can't use cars that have the real riders and the rubber wheels because there's too much friction and they don't make it down the track. So it's one of the other things that comes up as an issue, is that I want to have some of the premium, cool, special cars, but they have to have plastic wheels, which is why I love I've said it, probably say it every week, I love the ID series of cars, because you got the premium cars with all the details, but they had plastic wheels because they had to work on the ID tracks. So still looking for something. But today we have our lineup pretty much set. I'll pull the Roughshot and Christopher's cars. If anybody else wants to select a car, you've still got a little bit of time. Go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car, find the number with the car you want, drop it in the chat. I will pull that. And we have the 09 Ford Focus. We have the Lamborghini Gallardo Police Edition. We have the Porsche 911 Targa, the 67 Chevy C10, and we have the Quick Chat. Yeah, Quick Chat. All those are new to the fleet. Those are all ready to go, and we are going to also add in Roughshot and Christopher's picks. So I'm going to grab those, and we will. Yeah. So with the ID cars, I don't want to say I have all of them, but when I go to the Hot Wheels swap meets, the ones that I've seen, I bought those and put them in the fleet, and then there were some that I bought when they were just in the stores. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to check online to see if maybe there's one that I missed or don't have, because that would probably be a good candidate to be our 1000th car. We're going to find out. I'm going to go grab Roughshot and Christopher's cars and then come back, take a look at those, and then we'll hit the track. So I will be back. It's going to say, of course, it's going to say 5 minutes. It's going to take me about 30 seconds because I know exactly where those cars are. So let's see. I will be right back. Nope, that wasn't it. Let's try this. Still no? Oh well, I'll just go grab it. I'll be right back. Got them. There we go. Let's see. Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. I know what you were talking about. I know what you were like. Here you go. I'll give you 30 seconds of it. Had to get them in for Virgo turns the TV up. One of the things I was looking for that I forgot was with the wind tunnel. I finally I kept sending emails for every day for about a week, and then they eventually responded because I ordered these different nozzles, and these different nozzles will allow us to configure different smoke streams in the wind tunnel, and hopefully we'll be able to get some new and different and unique kind of results. So every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific on Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, we have Wind Tunnel Wednesdays where we take these cars, put them in the wind tunnel, and check out the aerodynamic profiles. And with these, we're going to test it out and see what kind of results we can get. It's Funtech Labs, the company that makes the Winsible. They'll eventually get you your stuff, but the communication is a little sketchy. But hey, it arrived, and happy about that. So, all right, we have let's see, Christopher's pick, which is he had 2 cars he was considering. Put those in the wind tunnel, and this was the one that he decided to go with. It is the Plymouth Superbird, and I think we had another version of this that raced and did pretty well from what I recall. Traditional car, but only traditional. Oh, of course, absolutely. I had made some changes to the setup, and so I was like, "Oh, where's the switch?" I couldn't find the switch for the bathroom break music, but there it was. So with this one, yeah, I mean, it is. We haven't had that many cars that are modeled after actual cars do well on the track. Well, we've had them do well in as far as winning the tournament. But this is one that has some potential. The question is whether, like, the back end is flat, so it's going to get pressed up right against that launching block. It should get a good solid launch. The car is a little narrow, and so that may come into play. But considering the cars it's going up against, my guess would be that really that Ford Focus is probably the one most likely to come out of this group today. It's possible that this one can do it. It's narrow, so it's gonna have to stay straight on the track. And with most, like a lot of the traditional cars, what we saw in the wind tunnel, back this out, is that the airflow, it hit the windshield and came up to the roof line and then broke away. And what ends up happening with most of these cars, or not with most of these cars, with every car where that flow separation occurs, then there's a change in pressure, and you get an area of lower pressure versus the higher pressure that's kind of building up in the front, and you get this pressure drag effect that works against the forward momentum of the car. So we're going to find out with this one if that's the case. Let me check the weight, because this is kind of a bigger car, coming in at 39.9 grams, so it's a little bit outside of kind of the sweet spot that we consider for these cars, but not extremely far outside. So I think the key is going to be, can this car stay straight? If it starts bouncing around the track, it's going to be a wrap. So we'll see. Roughshod, he went outside the box, way outside, with this one, the duck and roll. And we threw this one in the wind tunnel, and what we saw wasn't really anything that was going to give us a lot of insight as to how this is going to perform on the track. It is the rubber ducky inspired car. The back end, for the most part, is flat, so it should press right up against the launching block. Let's check the weight. The weight, it is coming in at 30.3, so it's not the lightest car that's going to be racing today, and it's just slightly outside of that sweet spot. Now, one area we were looking at is right here. There's this opening just below the bill, and it's the question we're going to have is whether or not air is going to get inside there and kind of work to slow it down. It's not a huge opening, just a small kind of slit right there. So it might not be as big a problem as it has been with some other cars we've seen that basically allow air in but don't have any way for it to flow out, and it ends up kind of working in that, having that parachute effect and slowing the car down. Yeah, we're going to see how tall this car is. It's hard to tell right now until we get it out on the track. So we might have to switch out that acrylic cover to make sure that it can stay on the track. But it seems like this is the wild card in the group today. That quick chat telephone car is weird, but it's not as extreme as having a rubber duck car coming down the track with all these rounded, all these curves and rounded shapes, and the air was just kind of flowing right around there. But we're gonna see what happens. If this is the first time you happen to be watching and all about aerodynamics at the track live race, then I am gonna show you what you are about to see. You are going to be seeing our 3-camera track view. The cars are going to start in the launcher at the top left. I'm going to give a countdown, 3, 2, 1, race. I'm going to hit the switch. The cars are going to come firing out of the launcher. They're going to move from top to bottom. They're going to pass out of the bottom of the screen on the left and show up at the top of the screen in the middle. They're going to go from top to bottom. They're going to pass out of the bottom of the screen in the middle and show up at the top of the screen on the right. Our finish line camera, they're going to come from top to bottom. They're going to cross the finish line, and the winning car will be indicated with a solid red light. A solid red light will indicate the winning car, and a flashing red light will indicate the losing car. After the race, cars will switch lanes and we'll fire them off again, and the first car to take 2 races will be moving on in the tournament. If a car crashes, crashes and leaves the track, no problem. We will simply throw out the results of that race and restart the cars, reset the cars, restart the race. And if that same car happens to crash again twice consecutively, leaving the track, that car will be disqualified, because a car that crashes twice consecutively, it usually means that there's some issue with the combination of the car and the launcher that isn't going to be fixed by just rerunning the race. So if a car crashes twice consecutively, leaves the track, its race day is done. Other than that, we are good to go. We've got a good, interesting mix of cars, and all that's left now is to hit the track. So I will see you over at the track in 30 seconds. Double check the audio. 1, 2. Yep, we're good. Okay. So Christopher, you have the new Ferraris. Did you just find those in the store? Did you have to order them online? Because I just haven't seen them, but I figure maybe once the once the hype dies down and they put out more and people kind of move on, all the scalpers have their fill, then maybe I'll get a chance to catch one in a store. But for right now, let's see what matchup are we going with. I want to see what this telephone is all about. So we're gonna go with this telephone against. Let me give it a shot. We're gonna go with the telephone against the Porsche. And first, let me see if this telephone, it is tall, so we will be using the other acrylic cover we've got here. Oh, you know what? We're gonna have to use the combo. We have this combo cover. If this is your first time viewing one of these races, essentially, so I designed this launcher, and the point of designing the launcher was to create a launcher that shot the cars out with more force, because as the cars move at a higher speed, drag is more of a factor, and it's easier to observe some of the aerodynamic principles that we are learning about when the cars are moving at higher speeds. The downside of creating a launcher that fires the cars out with so much force is that they would tend to fly up into the air. So in order to counter that, I had to design these acrylic covers that slide over the top of the launcher and prevent the cars from flying into the air and off the track. But what we found is with taller cars, we needed a taller acrylic cover. So I created one that was taller, but it was taller on both sides. So what ended up happening is if you had a car that was taller and needed a taller acrylic cover, and then you had a standard Hot Wheels car, there was a disadvantage for the standard car. So anyway, I created this new acrylic cover that has one side low, one side high, so that we can race cars that are standard and taller, and no car has a specific advantage. So that's what we've got here. We've got the Quick Chat lined up in lane number 2. We've got the Matchbox Porsche Targa 911 in lane 1. This is race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Okay, couple of things. The Porsche, the Matchbox Porsche, blew the doors. Well, there aren't any doors. It blew the receiver, blew the numbers, blew the dial off of the phone car. The phone car kind of went up in the air. It went up on its front two wheels. It came back down. Not an ideal launch. And the Matchbox car looked really fast. But did it look really fast because it is really fast, or did it look really fast because it was racing a slow, awkward car in the Quick Chat? I don't know. I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but I will have to see. I'll have to reserve my judgment on the Matchbox car until I see it against some other competition. All right, let's get these cars lined up. This Quick Chat. I mean, I tried to help it out. I cut the tabs off to free the wheels to give it a chance to just run free. And we'll see what happens. We've got the Quick Chat in lane 1. We have the 911 Targa in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Again, just an absolute destruction. The quick chat has been beaten, and beaten badly. Although it didn't look slow. There's some cars that lose by a lot and look slow. In this case, this Porsche just looked fast, and I'm going to need to see it against a different car in order to make a real solid determination. But signs are good. Signs are good. Matchbox, I hope this is the week. I really do. All right, let's go. Next up, let's go, since we've got this cover on, which we're probably going to need, let's go with the truck. Let me just check, make sure. It seems that the truck, the Chevy, does not need, it's hard to tell. I'm trying to make sure it can, I'm just trying to make sure that it can use the lower acrylic cover, and it seems that it can. So we're going to take that car up against the Superbird. But now, the Superbird, because of the huge wing in the back, that car may need. No, it works too. All right, we're going Superbird versus Chevy C10, and we are going to find out if the Superbird is going to move on to the next round, or if we're going to have a truck representing for the first time in quite some time, because most of the trucks tend to be a little too wide to fit on the track, but not in this case. So we've got the Superbird in lane number 1. We've got the Chevy C10 in lane 2. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Woo-hoo. That Superbird was moving. These cars, so I switched out the band this morning on the launcher, and we're getting some speed out of these cars. Even the cars that are not winning, the cars that are losing are still moving along. So this is pretty solid, and we're gonna switch lanes. And the Superbird was moving quickly down the track. It didn't wobble around, which was one of my concerns with it being a little narrow. It just moved out and got the job done. So that is good news for Christopher and his pick. We've got the Chevy C10, good looking pickup truck. We've got it in here in lane 1. Superbird's in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Oh, here comes the Superbird. Okay. So the Superbird takes that race with absolute, complete, total ease. And we've got a hot track today. It is absolutely, these cars are moving. And we had the Porsche that looked great. We had the Superbird that looked outstanding. And we are going to see if some of these other cars can measure up and match up. We're going to go with let's go with this rubber duck against the Ford Focus. So let me see. Yep, this rubber duck is definitely on the taller side. So just make sure it is. Oh, we're going to have to go extra tall with this one. Make sure. So even in the case where we have, I just want to make sure that it's not, that the top of this duck's head is not scraping and touching the top of All right, we're good. Good there. Just want to make sure that it's not scraping against the acrylic cover. Otherwise, that bit of friction will slow the car down. And friction is one of the three forces. There's gravity, there's friction, and there's drag that are all working to slow these cars down. And the car that can minimize the impact of those forces the most is the car that is going to win, the car that is going to move on in the tournament. And let's see. There we go. Well, Christopher, yeah, here's the thing. The Superbird will race the Porsche if they both continue to win their races. So that is inevitable. All right, we've got the duck and roll rough shots pick in lane 1. We've got the Ford Focus, the 09 Ford Focus, in lane 2. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, oh, wait. Didn't take the Superbird off the track. That would have been a collision. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. And the Ford Focus slammed into the barrier and bounced back near the starting line. The duck and roll went down the track, no problemo. Let me go ahead and grab the duck and roll, reset these cars, and I'm telling you, this is a hot track today because that duck and roll looked like it was moving as well. So these cars are not playing games today. The RD09 is going to have its work cut out for it, because when these cars are coming out with this kind of speed, you can see those kind of crashes like we just saw with the Ford Focus. And all right, we've got this lined up. Try again. We've got the duck and roll in lane 1. We've got the 09 Ford Focus in lane 2. Race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Okay, the Focus stayed on the track and took that race. Took it with some ease. So now we are going to switch lanes. And with the Focus, it's a narrow car. It's lighter. It's the one that, earlier I said, this could be the sleeper. And if it can stay straight, if it can get a good launch, because it's a narrow car, and I think that first time when it crashed, just got a bad launch. But if it can stay straight, get a consistent launch, that was an impressive win right there. So we will see. All right, let's get this set up, lined up. For our second race, we're going to have the duck and roll is lined up in lane 2. We've got the Ford Focus in lane 1. All right, get it set. Ready to go. Race number 2, we've got the Ford Focus in lane 1. We've got the duck and roll in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. And once again, the Ford Focus blasts into the barricade. It's kind of interesting because it really does depend on the launch. And when I go back to launch consistency, if you can't get consistent launches, you can't really expect to be one of our top performing cars, because you're likely to just get beaten in a race where you have a bad launch. And so we know that the Ford Focus can make it down the track. It's made it down the track once, looked great, and then 2 other times it's crashed. Fortunately, it hasn't been consecutive, so it's able to stay in. And like, I hate disqualifying cars when we know that they can get down the track, but we'll see what happens here. If this Ford Focus crashes again, I might give it one more shot, but really it really does need to stay on the track. So here we go. Race number 2 reset. We've got the duck and roll in lane 2 and the Ford Focus in lane 1. Race 2. Three, two, one, race. That race was closer, but still not so close that I couldn't see who the winner was without looking at the flashing lights. But the solid red light indicates that the Ford Focus took that race from the duck and roll. So the duck and roll, with its odd kind of aerodynamic profile, is going to head back to the garage. And we are now looking at the Ford Focus, the Chevy C10, the Superbird, and the 911 Targa. But we do have another Matchbox car to put in the mix, and I'm not going to go Matchbox versus Matchbox. So we are going to go, we're going to go with the Lamborghini, and we'll put the Lamborghini up against the Ford Focus. See what happens. All right, this should be pretty standard matchup, but the question is, can the Lamborghini perform up to the standard set and the level of the Porsche? That Targa looked fast, and now granted it was just racing the quick chat, so you know, whatever, but it looked good. It looked fast. This Ford Focus also has looked fast, but it's had a problem staying on the track. 2 races it's crashed, 2 races it stayed on the track. Let's see what happens. We've got the Ford Focus in lane 1. We have the Lamborghini Gallardo Police Edition in lane 2. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. This Ford Focus, it came out of the gate and it was behind, and then it started to close that gap. And what we know is that these cars do not gain speed on our track. They come out of the launcher, that is as fast as they are ever going to be moving, and from that point on, the forces are working against them to slow them down. And when we see one car gain on the other, it's because the first car is losing speed. The Lamborghini came out of the launcher and was in the lead, and then about halfway through, the Lamborghini starts losing speed, and the Ford Focus was losing speed at a slower rate, and therefore was able to catch it, pass it, and win the race and go up 1-0. So we've got the Ford Focus in lane 2 now. We have the Lamborghini in lane 1, and we are going to see what happens. This Ford Focus, when it's been able to stay on the track, it's been impressive. So here we go. Lamborghini lane 1, Ford Focus lane 2, race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Same thing. That Lamborghini was even and kind of had a little bit of a lead initially. Then the cars were pretty much even, and then right around as we got to the last third of the track, Lamborghini just started to lose that speed. And as it lost the speed, it ended up losing the race. So the Lamborghini, good showing for the Matchbox cars, but once again, the Matchbox car didn't get the job done. So we are down to 4. We have the Superbird, we have the Chevy truck, we have the Ford Focus, and we have the Targa. Let's see. Ford Focus has both sedan and hatchbacks. Hot Wheels made both versions. Same with the Subaru WRX STI. Interesting. I think I wonder. I'd have to go back and look to see if I have. I may have another Focus, but it's just a different year, and that's why I didn't see it in the spreadsheet initially. But good to know. Good information. All right, let's go. Let's go with the. We're gonna go with the Targa against this truck, and let me double check to make sure the truck can. All right, we're good on that end. So we are gonna go with the Chevy C10 pickup against this Porsche 911 Targa, and we've got the cars lined up. The Targa is in lane 1. The Chevy truck is in lane 2. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Okay, this Targa is trying to be that Matchbox car. The one. Is it the one? We've been searching for the one. But will this be it? Will this be it? Now, this truck does, even if it has performed well, the bottom line is it's still a pickup truck. And when you start to get deeper into these tournaments with the faster cars, then the poor aerodynamic profile of a pickup truck is going to come into play at some point. And we may have just seen an example of that. It's okay to have a bad aerodynamic profile against another car that's either slower and or has a worse aerodynamic profile. But when you start getting against these fast cars with good aerodynamic profiles, you're not going to be able to get away with that. So cars have switched lanes. We have the Chevy C10 pickup in lane 1 and the Porsche Targa in lane 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. That Porsche is not playing games today. So we are down to 3 cars. We've got the Superbird. We've got this Porsche 911 Targa. And we have the Ford Focus. So next up, we're going to have the Superbird versus the Focus. And we are going to see which of these cars is going to be challenging for the fastest in fleet title, and which car is going to win the tournament today. So here we go. We have the Superbird. Looked really good, and let me double check to make sure it doesn't need the taller cover. It does not. We're going to have the Superbird lined up in lane number 1, ready to race. The back end, nice and flat, pressed right up against the launching block. And then we've got this narrow Ford Focus, which has done well when it has stayed on the track. It has crashed. It has won. What's going to happen now? I don't know. All right, we've got the Superbird in lane 1. We've got the Ford Focus in lane 2. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Wow. Okay, so that was close. The Ford Focus took it. I had to keep my eye on the finish line, the lights, because it was just that close from my perspective. I couldn't tell which of these cars made it out in front, but the solid red light indicates the car that crossed first was the Ford Focus. We are going to switch lanes and see if the Superbird can come back and take 2 wins in a row. It has happened before. I'm sure it's going to happen again. But will this be the point where it happens? I don't know. Those are fast cars. We've had some fast races today. And we're going to see. The Superbird needs to get it done. Both those cars appeared to have really good launches, stayed straight, and we had a close race. So here we go again. The Superbird is in lane 2. The Ford Focus is in lane 1. Race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Wow. So the Superbird had the edge. It was pretty close, and then as they entered the last third section of the track, the Superbird kind of had a bit of a lead, but I noticed a wobble. It started to shake a little bit back and forth, and you can see how narrow it is. So there's a lot of room for it to bounce around on the track. Same thing with the Ford Focus. You can see that there's room for it to bounce around, and that's not ideal. If we take a car like what was one? Let me grab this. If you take a look at the Chevy, with the Chevy, it's narrow in the front, but if you look at the back end is pretty wide. So it can bounce around just because the front is so narrow. So any car that can stay straight, the straighter a car can stay on the track, the better off it is. When it starts bouncing around, and this is what I saw with the Superbird, I saw a little bit of bounce, like a little bit of wobble on the back third. If one car is bouncing around, scraping against the sides, and the other car is staying straight, the car that stays straight is going to take the race. And I believe that is exactly what we just saw. So now we are down to our finals matchup, and our finals matchup involves a Matchbox car. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Here we go. A Matchbox car, the Porsche 911 Targa versus the Ford Focus, the 09 Ford Focus. Can this Matchbox car finally represent for the other brand? We are going to find out, and I am usually pretty neutral about which cars I want to see win. But in this case, I need a Matchbox car to kind of pull this out. Come on. Save some face for the brand. Matchbox, we've got the Porsche 911 Targa in lane 2. We have the 09 Ford Focus in lane 1. This is race number 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Uh-oh. Matchbox is 1 win away from finally having a Matchbox car take a tournament victory. Can the Matchbox car get it done? 1 win away. That's all it's going to take. But you got to do it. And we have seen cars in the past lose the first race, come back, take the next 2. That is not an unusual thing. Is it going to happen today? I don't know. But this Porsche, this could be the car. Finally. We'll see. 1 win away. We've been looking for Matchbox cars for quite some time. They look good, and then they disappoint. Is this going to be the rare exception? Here we go. We've got the Porsche 911 Targa in lane 1. we have the '09 Ford Focus in lane 2. This is race number 2, finals. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. That Porsche took off and the Ford Focus crashed, which is something it's been prone to do today. It's a narrow car. It's a narrow car and it's a light car. And that combination just means if it doesn't get a perfect launch, anything can happen. So we're going to set these cars up once again and see if the Porsche can take it for the Matchbox. The drama is building and will only build even more if the Ford Focus can take the race. Then we'll go to a third and final race. But right now, we're resetting race number 2. We've got the Porsche 911 Targa in lane number 2. We are getting the Ford Focus 09 set up in lane 2. I'm sorry, the Porsche is in lane 1. The Ford Focus is in lane 2. This is race number 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Woo! Matchbox finally, after I don't know how many races, a Matchbox car has finally won the tournament. The Porsche 911 Targa is today's champion and now has the opportunity to do something just unheard of, which is have a Matchbox car become the fastest in fleet car. The Porsche 911 Targa, which won today's tournament, is now going to take on the RD09, our fastest in fleet car. Now, the RD09 just won the title last week, so it's not like the RD09 has some long track record of defeating cars and, this is pretty much its first title defense. So, can this Porsche, which has been hot, coming right out of the gate, can it defeat and knock off the RD09? The RD09 is set up in lane 1. The Porsche 911 Targa Matchbox is in lane 2. We're going to find out. Here we go. Matchbox, I'm rooting for you, but you've got a tall task ahead. So here we go. RD09 lane 1, Porsche Targa in lane 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Whew. Okay, the RD09 was just showing why it is our fastest in fleet car. That race was not close. Both cars got a good solid launch. There was no issue there. There was no problem with the launch. It was just the RD09 was faster. Now, we are going to switch lanes, and we haven't seen it today, but like I said, we have seen cars that lose the first race come back, win the next 2. That is what this Matchbox Porsche is going to have to do if it is going to become our fastest in fleet car. The 911 Targa set up in lane 1. The RD09, our fastest in fleet car, is set up in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. And the RD09 takes it, keeps its title, its fastest in fleet car. The Matchbox, nothing to be ashamed of. I'm going to grab these cars, head back into the garage, and we're going to take a look at the winners, the losers, what we saw today, and what's coming up next. So I'll be back in the garage in just a minute. So the RD09 remains our fastest in fleet champion. It didn't have much of a track record to kind of look back on to see, to know how it was going to perform. But it turns out that it held its own in its first title defense. And hey, there's something to be said for that. But the real story of the day is this car, which I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. This is the first Matchbox car to ever win our Saturday tournament. And that's a pretty big deal because the Matchbox cars, just for whatever reason, have not been able to hang with the Hot Wheels cars. And we saw with the Lamborghini, it did well enough, but toward the back end of the track, it was just losing steam. And we know that with the Lamborghini, we know that it's not because of poor aerodynamic profile. So I'm just thinking that with the Matchbox cars, there must be something mechanically different. And the one thing that I mentioned earlier is maybe the clamps that hold the axles in place. Maybe they're different. Maybe on Matchbox cars, they're different than on Hot Wheels cars. And maybe on the Matchbox cars, it doesn't allow the wheels to spin as freely. So maybe that is something that comes into play with the Matchbox cars. But either way, we definitely had good quality showing from this Matchbox car. And it took the tournament, and even though it fell short in its attempt to become our fastest in fleet car, there is nothing wrong with what we saw today and that performance. So now we are going to have to see if we can find cars that can beat out the RD09, because now we're seeing a car that's put together a couple of impressive performances. The two wings on the back, the pointed kind of wings, have not seemed to hurt this car as far as quality launches. So it should be interesting. And I see, okay, so Christopher said he's checking out number 19 and number 225. Those are two that he's considering. I guess we'll put those in the wind tunnel on Wednesday and check it out. And let's see. Yeah, I only have I have them, obviously some Matchbox and some Hot Wheels, and then I don't really have too many other brands. I do have a lot of those cheap kind of plastic cars from the Dollar Tree, all the 1/64 scale kind of knockoffs. I have, we had that race where we had the knockoffs that I picked up in Costa Rica that were clearly somebody stole the design plans for the Hot Wheels cars because they were exactly the same. But the difference was the materials, and the cheaper cars were very light, all mostly plastic. And when they went up against their Hot Wheels doppelgangers, the Hot Wheels cars destroyed them. But we now have, let's go ahead and take a look and see which cars Christopher is considering for the wind tunnel, because now that I have those new nozzle attachments, we should see something a little different in the wind tunnel. Number 19, we got the Jaguar. Which one is this? This is the XJ220. Good looking car. And I know I've seen this one race. One of the students picked it, but I haven't seen this one race in quite a while. So that'll be a good one to see. And then the other car that he is considering is 225, which is, let's check it out. 225 is the, oh, okay. Going with the Back to the Future Time Machine. And this one is the ID car version. So it's most likely going to be heavier than the mainline version that I have. Possibly. I could be wrong. But this is definitely the ID car version. And I really do have to go back and check that lineup and see if there's any ID cars that I missed. Because that would be probably find a good candidate in there to be our 1,000th car. So we're going to put those two cars into the wind tunnel on Wednesday. And if you want to see your car in the wind tunnel before you lock it in to race on Saturday, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Wind Tunnel Wednesdays. We'll put the cars in there. We've got the new Winsible nozzles, so we'll be trying those out, checking those out, seeing how that impacts what we're able to see in the wind tunnel. And then we will be back here on Saturday for more races. I'm going to go into storage, pull out more cars, see if we can find a car to knock off the RD09. The RD09's coming out pretty strong and in these last 2 weeks, and we will see how long that run can continue. We've had a lot of turnover the last month and a half or so, but it's always interesting. Today was a fast track. We had a pretty fast. I switched out the band and the launcher, and we were getting some speed. So I like that, and we will be here every Saturday racing cars. If you want more information about our science program, all about aerodynamics, go to aaerodynamics.com or just follow us on Instagram. All the information that you need is in the bio. And old episodes are on our YouTube channel under the live tab. I know that's how most people watch after the fact, but if you decide that you're watching after the fact but you want a car in the tournament, just send me a DM, let me know the car you want, I'll pull it and we will throw it into the tournament. So for All About Aerodynamics, for At The Track Live, for Wind Tunnel Wednesdays, I am Coach James, and until next time, I will see you at the races.